Gonna sign out. Have everyone sign out.
Does that sound better?
Does it sound better? Oh, and we're live again. And we're back. Are we back? I hope so. Well, we're live with a black screen and audio. So you... and you have ads. Okay.
Sound is better?
Can you hear me better? Let me see. Got a commercial. Sound is better. Oh, yes.
Reverb?
Yay, reverb is gone. Excellent, 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 excellent. That is so good. So, no echo. We actually have sound is great. There's just no pick. There's no pick. But you can hear Cliff perfectly. All right. If you can hear me and you've been so patient, then you get your reward now. Okay? Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you.
Show me now.
And everything you do. Yeah, they were all yellow.
You racist.
I came along.
I thought Lake Town was supposed to be yellow.
I wrote a song for you. I just went way out there somewhere else. And all the things you do. And it was called Yellow. Ba-da-dum. Anyway. In the words of BC, shall we begin? We still have an image of Thranduil. That's good. So let's do the show like that. Just that goofy picture of Lee Pace. You know? I'm going to look up this on the website. Thranduil Thingol. Yep, see, there's a connection. Excellent. We discussed this back in 2013. All right. What song is that?
Hello.
Marfles is like, what song is that? Oh my god, Marfles, how old are you? That's adorable.
I think we're here. Can you see us now? Hello, everybody. We're here. We just fixed our audio issues. That was some reverb.
There was just a
That's
little...
the only way to make you sound good when you're singing.
I'm reminded of Joe Dante's original film Gremlins. And one of them got in the microwave. You know what happens. So we just had the Gremlins over here at the sound control booth, and that's pretty much what happened.
The crazy thing,
the Gremlin in the microwave.
We're live streaming from this iPad app. Look at this shiny new iPad Air 2, and see all of the things are on here. So
oh, very clever.
I was trying to send it to the other computer with all the chat and everything.
This is your brand new pad.
And
this is your brand new device.
It's just
Very nice.
it's just a toy.
Okay, it's just another toy.
I was just we're testing this new wireless video system. The only wires that are plugged in is this microphone to the camera, and then it's all plugged in for power. But there's no wires connecting this iPad, so I can.
So we're doing this show wirelessly, and you can drop in goofy pictures.
Like
oh, look, Richard Armitage
with a red dragon.
Oh.
With gold wings.
So you can just poke at that screen and drop in other goofy, stupid things.
Isn't that fun?
How nice. Oh, we missed you too, Saoirse.
I was trying to send it to our wonderful machine over there, which has all the cool graphics and the scrolling text and everything, and that's where we're getting the echo.
That's where you're getting the problem from. That's where the gremlins are hiding in the old machinery. That's what you're getting.
We haven't. I don't know if I don't know what the issue is, but it was causing an echo where there should be no echo. But now we are here, a smougling. Welcome everybody, it's Torn Tuesday.
Yes.
That's Cliff, I'm Justin, we're here every Tuesday.
And here we are.
Meltdown Comics, the center of all things geek in Hollywood, California. If you're ever in LA, make it a point to come to Meltdown, because it's 10,000 square feet of awesomeness.
It sure is. Absolutely. You can't overstate You know what I'm saying? You cannot overstate in any possible way, and I'm the king of overstatement. Am I not?
Arabandi is understating how awesome this T-shirt is. Actually, Marfels loves this shirt.
Hello, Jammer.
Arabandi has
Hello,
this
Jammer.
shirt. We just put these back up for sale. They're at shop.theonering.net.
Oh, they're on sale again, which
And
is something
so-
we thought we'd never have again. But
Well,
now they are.
you know, The Hobbit's coming back to theaters. Star Wars is coming back to theaters. We've got our May the Dwarves Be With You shirt, which is always a favorite, and I'm going to wear that to the Star Wars Episode 7 opening for sure. May the Dwarves be with you. So all this Star Wars goodness, Star Wars Midnight Madness is tomorrow night at midnight. All the new Star Wars toys. So we have these shirts up, shop.theonering.net, and every shirt helps pay the server costs for theonering.net, which are not insignificant. We do this show for free. Meltdown hosts it for free.
Yes.
Tech Zulu has provided all the equipment for free. So, you know, this show is free, but every T-shirt dollar helps keep the site alive.
Yes, it does.
And so that's what it is.
I mean, we're volunteer fans for the OneRing.net. Like everyone on the website is just a volunteer fan. We're having a good old time, and we love bringing you the show.
Yes.
But we still do need to sell the shirts because that bandwidth that we use up on our site annually.
The
is
message
crazy.
boards takes up a significant portion of that.
There's still, no one has moved. I mean, we get Snapchat, we've got Periscope. It doesn't matter how the new things, progress with mobile devices. People still love our robust message boards, Barlamans, the live chat, where you can have, they have the Hall of Fire. They have the best live chats at the Hall of Fire.
Yep.
It's part of our community. Come take part, guys. We're all here for you. It's fantastic to be here.
And so, not only do we sell shirts online to pay for the server costs, but when we go to conventions, we oftentimes have a table or booth because it costs money to rent a table or booth. And that's not cheap. Did you know that most conventions charge $1,500 or more? Comic-Con,
yes, they do.
Comic-Con charges $2,300 for the smallest little booth that you can get. So we try to go to every convention that we can, and we try to we just want to cover the costs of the booth with T-shirts. So we'll be at Dragon Con this week.
Yes.
Not we, but the One Ring. Mr. Sear and his wife are going to be there. Kirsten Green Dragon's going to be there. Who put
Kirsten
together the whole
She's come back
party.
from the United Kingdom to go back to Atlanta to do the show.
And
that's great.
We've got a lot of Torn regulars. So we have a whole slate of content at the Tolkien track, all organized by our own Mr. Sear, who has all the inside info. And that's at Dragon Con. It starts Friday. We have new T-shirts. We have lanyards, buttons, and hoodies. It's been like 10 years since we did a Torn hoodie. So all new stuff. It's all brand. We can't even show it to you right now.
You cannot show a preview of what's going to actually
exclusive to Dragon Con. So if you're going to Dragon Con, look forward to that.
Okay,
Tell your friends.
Understand.
Go to the message boards. Go on our Facebook page. Go find the Tolkien track on Facebook and ask someone to ship you the shirt from Dragon Con, because we can't sell them. We're not selling anything. The buttons, the lanyards, the hoodies, everything's only at the convention. And you've seen some of the shirts we've had at convention exclusives. They're very cool.
They're super cool, and probably
cooler than this.
Probably cooler than what we can actually tell you, because
for reasons.
Trust. As my friend would tell me, he would just, if I get nervous or anxious and I say, what's going to happen? My friend Jose, he'll just shut me up with one word. He'll say, trust. And then he walks away with that period on the sentence. It's a one-word sentence. It's one of the best sentences that someone will ever tell you when they're trying to calm you down or to reassure you that T-shirt's going to be freaking fabulous, even though we can't preview it right now. You just got to trust. You're going to love this T-shirt. So let me tell you.
Dragon Con has the best Tolkien cosplay.
Oh my gosh. The best cosplay at any of the major events.
At any convention.
That's true.
And we've been to every convention around the world, including Australia, New Zealand, Germany, HobbitCon. We've been to every convention. Dragon Con is the best for cosplay. We've got Evening at Bree, which is like a Hobbit celebration of all things Hobbit. And then we've got the 90s Thranduil party Thranduil dance party, which is going to be amazing, fantastic. And you know who else is going to be at Dragon Con?
Who?
Dean O'Gorman.
Really?
Feely himself.
That's
Dean
right.
O'Gorman is joining Peter Hambleton,
Peter Hambleton.
who played Glowing.
Yes, he's so
Gimli's father.
awesome.
Gimli, son of Glowing.
And Bombur.
Bombor.
He's going to be there too.
What is his name? His name is No.
Are you going to tell me you don't
totally-
remember the name of the actor who plays Bombur?
Who plays Bombor? I'm so.
Are you gonna? I'm gonna wait.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
wait
know what?
until you figure it out.
Who plays?
You're gonna.
Oh, this is gonna hurt my head. Like also Radagast, Sylvester McCoy.
I'm just waiting for him to figure it out. It's okay.
Ah.
Anyway, Stephen
Steven!
Hunter. Stephen Hunter.
I knew it. I was on the tip of my tongue.
Stephen
I said
Hunter.
Stephen when you said Stephen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Stephen
yeah, I'll give you
Hunter
that.
is Bombor.
Forgive us, Stephen. We love you, man.
The funniest
We love you, man.
dwarf of them all.
It doesn't even say a word to steal all the.
He got
scene-
the dwarf with the biggest laughs.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and Sylvester McCoy will be there. Radagast. He's always a wonderful chat. And
Hey, Pete.
John Noble.
I love John Noble. He's great.
John Noble
He's great.
was amazing in Sleepy Hollow.
He's especially amazing in Fringe.
And-
I loved Fringe because of John Noble.
And now he's
so awesome.
He's going
Fringe
to
was
be
great.
Sherlock's father. John Noble's going to be Sherlock's father in this season in Elementary, that Sherlock show on CBS. Elementary has John Noble. So that's some amazing, wonderful guests.
Yes, indeed.
Glowing, Feely, Bomber, Radagast, Denethor. And all the cosplay
Yes.
you can say. In fact, you know
That's a lot.
You know what's great is that a
Hi,
lot of
Adriel.
the people that we met on the road to Dragon Con for those few years, they're actually all going to Dragon Con for this year. So the people that we stay with in Tennessee,
Yeah.
and the people we met up with on the rabbit farm.
Oh, yeah?
Almost everybody. Yeah, Dwina is going to Dragon Con. Everyone that we met on the road to Dragon Con.
God, I wish that makes it even sadder for us.
But
really
no,
wish
I
I
am
could go.
so happy that our little adventure, our experiment in live streaming, wireless live streaming from our truck, has inspired so many people to attend Dragon Con.
That's very good. That's true.
Almost everybody that we introduced to Dragon Con, they've made an effort and they're going. And
indeed they
that
are.
is why we do this. We want to inspire people to do fun things, great things as Tolkien fans, as ringers. And I'm so proud that the road to Dragon Con has inspired so many people to try Dragon Con, to go to the ends of the financial earth to make Dragon Con a reality. You guys are amazing. I can't wait to see all of the Facebook pictures. Please, Meerkat, Periscope, tweet at theonering.net, tag us on Instagram. Any photos, anything cool that you see, tag us on Instagram and Twitter. Please, I want to experience Dragon Con from your eyes, because you already saw it from our eyes, and it's
Well said. Well said.
It's just so much fun.
A nice endorsement, a very heartfelt endorsement. You guys are bringing the fan into fandom. You are definitely putting the FAN right into fandom, and there's no other experience that I've ever had with pop culture than what we've had in Atlanta at Dragon Con.
I'm so glad that
I'm going to miss you guys. Wish I could be there. It's
People
great.
in the chat room are saying that the first time they ever heard of Torn Live, or first time they'd ever heard of Dragon Con, was from us.
That's
so
true.
I'm so happy that you guys discovered us and our little road trip, which was crazy when we first did it, and it's still crazy today because no one else is doing it. You know what else is going on this weekend? San Jose Wizard World, I think, is this weekend.
Is that really?
And
at the same time?
Billy Boyd
Oh, yeah.
will be in San Jose this weekend.
Oh, that's lovely. He's so lovely.
And you know
He's
who
so
else
great.
is at San Jose? Repping on the West Coast, the Happy Hobbits will be at their own panel, giving you all the scoop of all the latest Hobbit goodness.
At Dragon Con?
No, at San Jose Wizard
In
World.
San Jose Wizard World. Oh, that's beautiful.
So we're
Yes,
at
that's
Dragon
right.
Con on the West Coast, or East Coast, and then we got Wizard World San Jose in the West Coast. Both are happening this weekend, so you can see hobbits and dwarves over there. You can see wizards and dwarves over here.
And then there's PAX. There's the gamers conventions happening over Labor Day weekend as well. Huge experience.
Marvel's in the chat room is asking
PAX
if
West in
we're
Seattle.
Going.
I am not.
We're not going to
I am
Dragon Con
not.
this year.
Nope.
It's too much.
I started a second job, so I'm actually picking up double shifts like almost every day. So
And I've got to ship all the online orders that have been coming in over the last week.
Yeah.
So we're super busy, but our East Coast team, we've got some amazing people going there, and all of the people who have offered to be new volunteers to help out at the booth, to help organize and corral people at the Tolkien track at Dragon Con. Thank you so much. You guys,
yes,
we're all volunteers.
Yes, we are.
Just because someone says I'm senior staff at the One Ring, it just means they've been volunteering longer
than anybody else.
That's
all that means.
There's no internet points to being staff at the One Ring other than helping other Tolkien fans out. Before we jump into a discussion on Thranduil, which this episode is all about, I just want to say that Hannibal, the TV show, just concluded with this guy, Richard Armitage, as the Red Dragon. And I have to say, Richard Armitage was amazing as the Red Dragon in Hannibal. The final battle, final fight between Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham and Richard Armitage as the Red Dragon,
yes,
aka Francis Dolarhyde, aka the Tooth Fairy. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to see on television on NBC.
Was
of
it
all
the
places.
series finale? Was it the
series finale? NBC canceled it. They didn't even play any commercials. There've been no commercials for Hannibal for 6 weeks.
Really?
They just buried it on Saturday nights. And in fact, Hannibal this week was the most pirated television show pirated. So
fascinating. Tells you something.
If all of those people that had pirated Hannibal every week had actually tuned in to watch it or even DVR'd it, it would still be on the air. But the fact of the matter is, nobody DVR'd it. Everybody pirated Hannibal, and NBC canceled it. Amazon refused to pick it up.
That's too bad.
Netflix has refused to pick it up. So
that was such a good
Gillian
show.
Anderson was amazing. I mean, you had Gillian Anderson, you had Richard Armitage, you had Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal himself, who's going to be in the new Star Wars Rogue One. Hugh Dancy. I mean, it's just such a great show.
And it's a shame. I know you enjoyed it from the very beginning.
Yes,
I know you did.
It's been my favorite show.
And you don't like the way the network treated the show.
No.
I can imagine not. That's too bad. Great shows sometimes don't find their way. And they don't get much loving from the networks that are spending all the money on it. It's weird, though. It's weird for a network to spend money on a show and then not support it properly.
People
Isn't that weird?
are talking about the prices of con
yes,
tickets.
They are.
And San Diego Comic-Con is the gold standard. And it is the gold standard for pricing. And Ellen Design, who's a local in the chat room, 4-day pass to San Diego Comic-Con is $220. That might even go up. Some conventions are only $30. I think San Jose Wizard World might be $30 or $40 to go. And then, and with the bigger conventions, charge bigger amounts on everything. So all the autograph booths are more expensive. You're going all in. It's crazy. You know what I just heard?
What's that?
Is that next year coming up in July for San Diego Comic-Con, they've put together an amazing thing called the Cosplay Cruise. You can actually take a boat.
Oh, that's going to be so
from
crazy.
Anywhere on the West Coast.
Be so crazy.
And they're going to dock in San Diego Harbor, and then you can use the boat as your hotel room, and they'll have a shuttle from the boat to the convention center. So all of your travel and accommodations are taken care of on the Cosplay Cruise, a boat. It's going to be amazing. I might just sign up for that.
I guarantee you, I would love to do something like that if I felt I had a good cosplay that I could sink my teeth into, that I'd want to present. I mean, I would want to get something together for a cruise like that I would want to present, and that would be fantastic.
It's crazy. talking about Thranduil, you know, one of the big problems we all had with the Hobbit trilogy movies is that there was no merchandise. I mean,
No merchandise.
I really would have, might have bought L'Oreal or Tauriel if they had made it, but they didn't make it. What an opportunity! What an opportunity!
You gotta be kidding me.
To have a whole bunch of products. I mean, this will not be beyond
funny.
Star Wars.
That's too funny.
You know, Star Wars is going to have crazy marketing tie-ins everywhere,
And they would probably take it to the nth level.
This is the difference.
The nth level.
This is the difference between the Hobbit and Warner Brothers marketing and Tolkien estate and everything like that, and Disney Lucasfilm, because Star Wars, I just found out Star Wars is going to have Campbell's soup. Star Wars branded Campbell's soup.
You're kidding. With little pasta shapes that are...
No, all the classics. Not SpaghettiOs. I'm talking Campbell's chunky chicken soup.
Yes.
With pictures of 3PO and pictures
on the can of soup.
On the can of soup.
But what's inside is just going to be a can of soup.
Yeah, but it's still themed.
Not
like there's nothing there's nothing special about a blonde dye or brunette dye.
Right.
But if they had made that, I would have bought it. Even if I don't have any hair, I would have bought it.
That's just too crazy.
So tomorrow, Lucasfilm is debuting all the merchandise for the new Star Wars films, which Andy Serkis is in. So tomorrow, starting at 2 p.m. Wars, they're gonna have a Star Wars. Everything they're gonna have like
a plushy like gate. You know, I don't know if they're gonna have budgies, but they'll have because Luke is even
the Force. Remember, so tomorrow is going to be big Star Wars Day, and I'm really looking forward to it because Andy Serkis is awesome.
All right, so Thranduil. Let's start.
What about Thranduil?
You told me about this website right here, this Tumblr.
Yes, this Tumblr account.
See this Tumblr?
Yeah, I do see that Tumblr.
What is the website there?
The Tumblr where she's like, we all worship Thranduil.
It's Thranduilings.
Thranduilings? Yes, that's it.
.tumblr.com. Now, tell me.
Thranduilings.
Thranduilings. So, Cliff, tell me.
Cliff, Aidanos.
What happened here? Why is this so interesting to you?
The Swedish girl who runs this Tumblr page, she's 22 years old, and she's a hardcore fan. Her name is Sandra. Fabulous fan of all things Thranduil, especially that Thranduil that we have provided by the wonderful Lee Pace. And she has dedicated her Tumblr to everything Thranduil all the time. And there was a huge response that came about from the fandom, not just in Sweden and in Scandinavian countries, but in other parts of the internet, all around the world, where information was revealed about the nature of that silvery, shiny, beautiful necklace. The one that's in a few shots of an unexpected journey, and then we do see it again at the end film, at Battle of the Five Armies. But it gives a conversation, because there's this argument about, within the fandom, there's an argument about how Thranduil exists in canon, the actual canon of Tolkien's books, versus the Thranduil that Peter Jackson and Philippa Boyens created, which in several instances goes way off to material that's just not in Tolkien at all. This business about whatever happened to Thranduil's wife, Legolas's mother, it's a lingering question.
Is that true
about
to Tolkien, though?
It is not. It's not canon. That's the word. It's not canonical to Tolkien's book, because in the Hobbit stories, Professor Tolkien does not mention that the Elven King there in Mirkwood Forest had any wife, you have to assume...
The jewels are... Why didn't he mention that those are his wife's jewels in the first 2 movies in the first place?
See, that's what the fans were arguing about. Okay, now type in a search about Thranduil necklace.
Now,
what's the first search on Google? Thranduil necklace wife. That's it. When you type in Thranduil and necklace,
Okay.
the first thing you get is Thranduil necklace wife. I didn't realize that there was such an aggressive, like, rumbling about what was going on with this necklace. Okay? Okay. Why are Thranduil's family heirloom jewels in Erebor?
I thought they
Okay,
were a
this is what
gift
this is all about.
from the High Elves, like from a complete. Look, I haven't seen any of
Okay.
the extended editions. I've only seen what Peter Jackson and Warner Brothers published theatrically.
You're telling
So
me that
I'm
you
your
have
average. I'm your average moviegoer.
You haven't seen these.
No,
Okay, guys, check this out. I'm, here's
they know what
they're
they
the
look
only they're the only ones that exist right now. There they are. The Hobbit extended editions, and Justin has not seen them yet. Justin has not seen them yet. But all these details and the ensuing
Hold on.
argument
Hold-
about how Thranduil is being handled as
him
a
up
character, all of this
that's
comes about from the
that's-
information revealed about the nature of this necklace.
extended edition.
Okay?
Desolation of Smaug. I like that cover, and then that's extended edition. Battle of Five. You know,
Yes, it is.
I really like the box of Desolation of Smaug. It's got a little more character than the other one. That raised text, it just looks more raised, doesn't it?
No, it's all exactly the same. I think it is. It's all exactly the same. Yeah, this is raised edition, extended edition, and this looks more raised because this has had longer shelf life, where this has been pushed.
Oh, okay,
It's been pushed against the other DVD boxes on the shelf.
Yeah.
So it's not as it's not as raised as it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but touch the spine. Touch the spine. That's all raised lettering. Okay, so here's the scoop. When you watch these extended editions, you're going to learn about these things called the Necklace of Las Galen. And this was information revealed by the filmmakers. It
doesn't mean it's true. It's true to Tolkien.
It's true to Tolkien in a partial sense, but it has caused confusion, and it has caused people to have some hurt feelings as they argue about the way Thranduil and his moral center is portrayed. It seems that Thranduil's character in the movies is, and we're talking movie canon strictly now, so for the next 5-10 minutes, we're only talking about the way this character is put together in the movies, not the original in the books. But let's go from here. People had confused that beautiful sparkling necklace in The Unexpected Journey as the thing from the Silmarillion called the necklace called the Nauglamir. The Nauglamir is a specific artifact talked about in the Silmarillion, and everybody had originally thought, oh, we're looking at this jeweled necklace, and Thorin's dad, Thrain, he takes the box and he shuts it, almost like when Lee Pace is reaching for the jewels.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's in the
he's just like,
prologue.
oh yeah, but it's only in the extended edition prologue of An Unexpected Journey.
They showed the jewels in the.
They do not. They do not in the theatrical. Absolutely, they do not
There's
show
just a
these jewels.
fleeting cut, isn't there?
There's no, but just they're not shown. Okay. If there's, you know what? Check my brain. Okay, yeah. Touch the spine, Justin. Touch the spine. That's funny.
Well,
you guys are just catching up.
The
necklace seems to be the driving moral problem with why Thranduil does not help the dwarves of Erebor when they're attacked by Smaug, and it makes his character look like he's a real jerk, like a real low-life jerk, that he would not do that. But his spiritual and emotional connection to that necklace is revealed later on, that those gems are not the Nauglamir, which is a reference to a fantastic artifact in the Silmarillion, but this is an invented piece of jewelry called, as they call it right here, what is it called?
Nauglamir.
No, that was what it's not. These gems are called, did I just say Las Galen?
Las Galen, yeah.
Yeah, there they are, okay? Yeah.
Ellen Design confirms what I just said. The
Yes.
jewels are shown very briefly that was a nice.
Very briefly?
Look, that was
Okay.
a nice connection,
Well,
because
okay,
I've only
but-
seen the theatrical edition.
Just a glimpse, but when in theatrical edition, you don't even know that it's a necklace. You don't even
It's
know
just
that it's a
jewels.
necklace. It's just a box of jewels, and the lid is shut.
Well, to be honest, in the theatrical edition Battle of Five Armies, I don't know it's a necklace either.
But
Yet, I still don't know it's a necklace. This is the first time you've told me it's a necklace.
It's a MacGuffin that becomes part of Thranduil's storyline, and that's what we're talking
It's
about
his
today.
only motivation.
His primary motivation is even evident in the trailer for Battle of the Five Armies, where he says, "I have come to reclaim something of mine." Fans who saw Unexpected Journey Extended know what he was talking about. You,
Well, no,
you did not. You
No,
didn't
I
know
did.
what that dialogue referred to.
I absolutely did, because it's seen in the theatrical version of...
But you didn't
An
even know it was a
Unexpected
necklace.
Journey.
Did you even know it was a necklace?
It doesn't matter, it's a necklace.
Last Galen.
All I know
Okay.
is there were jewels, they were elven jewels.
Okay.
They showed it in the theatrical version of An Unexpected Journey, and then they
Okay.
showed it in all the trailers for Battle of Five Armies, and that was his main driver. You know,
Okay,
he-
releasing the information about that necklace caused a lot of drama on the Tumblr community. It caused a lot of drama among
where
the
did this
hardcore
information come from?
the filmmakers. All right,
Where?
That-
I don't
okay.
remember ever seeing anyone say, "You know what? That was his wife's necklace." Like, where
Watch this.
did that come from? Eravani says, "I
Thranduil
don't
Last
think
Galen.
the necklace was the main motivation for Thranduil's actions. They may have been part of it, but
Okay.
according to Lee Pace himself,
The
he
white
also
gems
didn't
of
want
Last
his
Galen.
people to get killed by the dragon. He didn't want his people to get killed by the dragon en route to getting those jewels.
Okay,
He wasn't there. He brought all that food for the men of Lake Town. He said,
Okay, listen to this.
I'm not just generous. I'm here to get something of mine." That's all he
Okay.
wanted.
Bilbo is explaining that the rift between the elves and the dwarves was quite significant when Thror, the grandfather of Thorin, when Thror refused to hand over the white gems of Lasgalen, which the Elven King desired. Rewording the explanation in the novel, Bilbo explains that the dwarves tell a different story, that Thranduil refused to pay them their full due, so they took what he had originally promised. Thranduil shows up with an elven army on the day that the dragon destroys Dale and Erebor, but leaves the surviving dwarves to fend for themselves on seeing that the might of the dragon and knowing what it could do to his army. Okay? The white gems of Lasgalen were talked about and released. I think it was a press release, and therefore it was disseminated through the OneRing.net and all of the internet, portals where the fan websites give this information.
Las Galen means green leaves, by the way. So these
Yes.
these
Okay.
are the jewels of Greenleaf. And what
Yeah.
what is Legolas's last name? Legolas Greenleaf. So these are his
yeah.
mother's jewels.
They are.
I think it's too
Okay.
much of a stretch. We didn't need them to be his Legolas's mother's jewels. We didn't need that,
Okay.
but they included it anyway.
All right. There's a word that fans are using, and it's called headcanon. You ever heard this term before?
Go ahead.
When fans use the term headcanon, they're talking about what they think in their own heads is the operational canon within a universe that someone else has already established. Okay? Tolkien, in the book, gives the Elven King his own motivations for the way he behaves, but in the film, we're talking about the likability of the character, the dislikability, whether the character is completely morally contemptible or not. And a lot of Thranduil fans had a big fight over this conversation when it was revealed that the white gems of Lasgalen were the last remaining personal device held by his wife. That Thranduil was the only thing left as a tether to his dead wife. Okay.
Any Tolkien scholar would probably know that the name Lasgalen comes from Aaron Lasgalen,
Yes.
quote,
Okay.
woods of the green leaves. The name
Okay.
given to Mirkwood after it is cleansed following the War of the Ring. So the ancient alliance of elves and men and the early War of the Ring, where Sauron his hand was chopped off, like they called that forest the Green Leaves, right?
No, it was called Greenwood the Great.
Woods of the Green Leaves.
Yeah.
Aaron Lasgalen.
And in common speech, in the common tongue, it was called Greenwood.
Okay.
Greenwood the Great.
Yeah. So these are jewels of the Queen
At the time, yes, and
Galen.
Tolkien never read, but Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens are world building.
Thank you,
their
Tolkien
own
girl.
canon. Okay, yes, thank you, Tolkien girl. But they're building their own canon. What makes the dwarves despicable in their refusal to give, the widower, his one remaining family heirloom that once belonged to his lovely wife, Legolas's mother? Why are the dwarves more despicable than Thranduil for not helping them when they were being decimated by the dragon? This is what the fans have been arguing about. Which side of this dispute makes these people more or less morally repugnant in their actions? It just all revolving around this necklace. Okay? We have to clarify that there is no connection. There's often been confusion that Thranduil, the Elven King in The Hobbit, may have been originally intended to be Thingol. Thingol, who married Melian in the Silmarillion, one of the great first elves who awoke by the waters of Cuivienen, before there was a sun or a moon. Okay. When all of Middle-earth was lit by only starlight, everyone has had this debate, and 2 years ago we published a nice little succinct article on theonering.net to let you guys know once and for all that there should be no confusion that the Elven King of Mirkwood was actually, Thingol. Thranduil and Thingol are not to be confused, but a lot of people thought that Bilbo was traveling into some unwritten parts of what happened in the Silmarillion that Tolkien was otherwise early drafting in his mind. People were trying to assume that with some weird early overlap of Bilbo bumping into a character, that was actually supposed to be Thingol, but it's not. From the first age, it's actually Thranduil, separate person, separate character.
And that's part of the creative process.
We'll get that. Okay.
That's true of any writer. You go through different things and then you throw out complete chapters. Say, you know what, that didn't work. Yeah. Thingol. Oh, you know what? No, he shouldn't even be related to Thingol. So that's just part of the creative process. And then when he went back and started doing the Silmarillion and putting all these early pieces together, so that makes sense.
He's calling out to you about the car. Erivandi and Tino Bomar, you guys have really brought some insights into this chat room, and we appreciate that you're doing this live. Let me read down this list on this Tumblr conversation, okay? This is what our friend from Sweden had to say on her very, very popular Tumblr blog, Thranduilings, okay? She says, I approve of the idea of introducing the necklace, the white gems of Lasgalen, because I think it gives Thranduil a relatable loss. And it adds impact to why his alliance with the dwarves has gone awry. People complain that this new piece of information makes the dwarves look unnecessarily bad and makes Thranduil look justified, which I disagree with. First of all, the only dwarf to blame is Thror. Thorin clearly looks kind of confused in the extended scene, and I noticed this too, something that always puzzled me a little bit every time I watched it, but Thror insists on having his son Thrain close the lid, almost snapping the lid shut on Thranduil's fingertips. Rude much? That's really rude. And Thorin looks a little confused. He's not sure what's going on, but Thorin is not under the gold sickness as much as his grandfather is. And his grandfather's pulling all the strings, okay? So I agree with what Sandra has to say here on the Tumblr blog. Let me continue with this, just for a couple of sentences more, okay? I don't find the treatment unfair, since the writers made Thranduil abandon the dwarves after Smaug's attack, which led a large part of the audience to despise Thranduil. And Thranduil is not supposed to be a despicable character. He's supposed to be an really intriguing character that we're really fond of and interested in. But he's also, weird and stoic and really, conceited. The way he gives Gandalf backtalk. He's very he's kind of like that. Kind of snotty. He's kind of snotty. But I think that's an interesting character. But Thranduil has, in both movies so far, been shown in a rather negative light. And I think adding this to his character is a good thing to show that he is indeed compassionate. Compassionate about his own feelings for his dead wife, at least. Because in the end, he is a good character. This is what Sandra's getting to, okay? And she's trying to explain that she still believes that Thranduil is a good character and not as morally repugnant as people have led on. Okay? Thranduil's wife is dead in this movie canon, and I fully see the concern, but I'm confused by the angry reaction, since both Lee Pace and the writer Philippa Boyens have already stated that Thranduil's wife is not a part of his life anymore. These comments were released to the Tumblr community more than half a year ago, and no one reacted. No one got upset. No one reacted, and therefore I wonder why this book page, there was a book page out of one of the guidebooks, one of the supplemental books that came out with The Hobbit, talking about the White Gems of Lasgalen, and because the fact that Thranduil's wife is not present in movie canon was in fact established months ago. Okay? They killed off Bard's wife, and there wasn't a big reaction about that, but there was a reaction about Thranduil's wife not being there. Okay, and then going on down, okay, if Richard Armitage, the actor, decided that he was going to create these ideas in his head that would motivate his performance about his missing wife, it matched where Lee Pace was. Lee Pace had a lot of information that the audience did not know at the time when we watched An Unexpected Journey. That his wife was gone, or dead, missing or dead, we don't know. To borrow a line from Balin. But the White Gems of Lasgalen was something that he wanted. It was the only piece of living memory that he could hold on to remind himself of his dead wife, assuming she was dead. So while Lee Pace was doing his rehearsals and working out what he had to work out for his character, he was keeping in mind some of the seething anger that Thranduil would be motivated by the dwarves behaving in such a shitty way and not letting, him have this thing that they agreed to have, the white gems that his wife once had, laid into this beautiful necklace work that the dwarves provided for him. But the dwarves didn't, for whatever reason, they felt like they weren't paid their due, they weren't given what was owed to them, so they kept the necklace. Thranduil had a background that you didn't know about when you watched the film. He was angered and bitter about his missing wife. It all comes out completely in the wash in Battle of the Five Armies.
That felt weird in the theatrical version.
Because they start talking about it, where did it come from? The information was released in one of those side books, like the Hobbit Chronicles, where they're like, here's the White Gems of Lasgalen. And that information came out that was belonging to Thranduil's wife. Now, Richard Armitage made up, and he said this in an interview at another later point in time, and it was never canon in the film, but it was his head canon. Richard Armitage made up a wife that he was going to be betrothed to in Erebor, and she was killed by the dragon. And that was one of the motivating factors for Richard Armitage to give Thorin that revenge, hatred. That Smaug not only killed family and relatives and everything in his kingdom and the pride of his legacy, but Smaug also killed a future female dwarf, a future bride-to-be.
I'm glad they didn't include that.
It wasn't included, but the actor included that in his own head.
That's fine.
And so this is fine, and I think it's pretty cool.
They didn't need to include that, and they're right.
But Lee Pace had it included because it was part of the real script. The audience didn't know until the third film, Battle of the Five Armies, that he had a missing wife, that Legolas had been bereft of his mother. We don't know the details, but you hear Thranduil say out loud, "Your mother loved you, Legolas.
Yeah,
she loved you."
That came out of the blue.
Why? Because of the whole unsatisfied love triangle with the dwarf and the elf girl, Tauriel and Keely.
What actually
Tauriel challenges Thranduil in Battle of the Five Armies, and she says, "Your words are empty because you have no love. You have no love in you."
Oh
and
my God,
that became a part of
ham-fisted.
that you thought was ham-fisted. Maybe it was. The dialogue was ham-fisted to many people, but it is what Thranduil gets to. He gets to a softer spot with Tauriel.
Because he got what he wanted. He got his jewels back.
He saw heartbreak in Tauriel that he finally saw in himself. He saw a reflection of his own heartbreak, his aching. That when elves die, they die from being killed by a blade, or they die of sorrow, of a broken heart. And Tolkien says this over and over and over again, and I get it now.
They did that very well with Arwen.
And they did very well with Arwen.
They did
it very well, but they're trying to give that bitterness of a broken heart is one of the things that can kill an elf. dying of sadness of a broken heart. And they wanted to instill that into
They didn't
the
need
structure
to.
of Thranduil.
We already
What's
have
funny
that in
is,
Lord of the Rings.
I know, but we get more evidence of the bad the editing and the tinkering with the theatrical release. An Unexpected Journey, if it had been released in proper form, it would have been more cohesive, and that conversation that Thranduil and Tauriel have in Battle of the Five Armies about her saying, "You have no love in you," and her angry accusation is not true, because Thranduil has a broken heart. He may be as close to dying, not from a battle wound, but from missing his dead wife. We don't know how far it goes. But
what you just
the
explained,
motivation about these gems in this necklace is the whole set structure, part and parcel of how we are supposed to relate to Thranduil in the movies. And again, let me say caveat emptor, we're not talking about the Elven King in Tolkien's books. We're just talking about movie Thranduil. This is fascinating to me. This is all very fascinating to me.
No, it's not fascinating to me. You know what?
Why?
What you just explained makes me even more frustrated.
Why?
About the destruction of the Tauriel character, which was so strong, which was definitely a Guillermo del Toro strong female type, and the complete and utter destruction of that character is basically reinforced with what you just said. Is that not only did we build up this strong female character as the only one that understood the big picture.
Yeah.
It is our fight.
She had more foresight than Thranduil. She had much more foresight than him.
To Battle of Five Armies, where the girl, the only elf that wanted to fight, ends up having to be rescued by the boy elf. Which she was a better warrior.
Actually, she was going to rescue him, wasn't she?
No,
she was going.
Well, he goes Super Mario, and Legolas suddenly has to rescue her. But now you're saying that she can, as a character, she can only understand only understand pain through Thranduil's pain. Yeah, so
no, it's the reverse of that. Thranduil rediscovers his own personal pain.
We never cared about his pain.
But we never knew about it. Because the films were edited that way, we didn't know about his pain.
Because it was supposed to be about her pain. Like, if you're going to take away the brotherly pain of the two brothers dying, and you're gonna change that to the boy-girl relationship, even if there is no love relationship, it's just a relationship, like, you've got to reinforce it with them. But the fact is that you're taking away from Tauriel this key moment of love. She's the only one in the entire trilogy that talks about love, and then at the end of the day,
and she falls in love and then loses that love,
and she scolds her Thranduil about
very angrily
about his lack of love, and
she says, "You have no soul, you have no love in you."
And you get to the end of Battle of Five Armies, and we're introduced to his love and his love for his dead wife, not her.
He says, what you feel for that dwarf is not real. It's all bullshit. What you feel for that dwarf is not real. He's defensive. She's defensive. These are two people, two elves, two Sindarin elves who have never seen the light of the two trees of Valinor.
Yay for gender stereotypes. Exactly. Tolkien Girls has it on point.
Yay for gender stereotypes? No, I'm not saying
Peter Jackson and all the makers.
Let me finish my thought.
They built up this character as a strong female archetype. She reinforced it in all the interviews we did with An Unexpected Journey. Like, wait till you see Tauriel.
Yeah.
They had all the toys laid out for the first movie when there were supposed to be toys for Unexpected Journey, and then at the end of the day, the final time we get to see Tauriel is in Thranduil's shadow, and we're meant
and she's holding a dead lover in her arms
and
weeping,
and it's completely overshadowed by the emotion of Thranduil. So
is it completely overshadowed?
Oh yeah,
no. They're symbiotic.
The King of Mirkwood's pain overshadows the character that was supposed to be.
I didn't get that.
All about.
I didn't get that. Esme says Cliff's right about this. Thank you, Esme. I appreciate you, my dear girl. Listen, I didn't realize why.
It frustrates me. I'm so frustrated.
What frustrates you?
Go ahead.
No, listen to me. I'm talking to you. Okay, this is fine. Thranduil standing there, and his pain and anguish does not overshadow hers.
It totally does.
Her experience of this emotional devastation opens up a doorway to Thranduil's heart.
We don't want
And
Thranduil's heart. We want him to be Lee Pace, a badass.
Allow me to finish my point, good sir.
Go.
I have just realized a new facet to why the Keeley-Tauriel relationship is even in there. The Keeley-Tauriel relationship is actually in the film, as much despised as it is by fandom, as many people complain about this unnecessary, ham-fisted romance, interracial romance between a dwarf and an elf that is so unnecessary, and it has been accused of being just a needless Mary Sue, where the writers of the films were trying to interject themselves.
We're beyond that.
No. As despised as it is, I start to see the inner workings of why it's in there. By Tauriel getting exposed to love and having that love being devastatingly taken away from her, she awakens an awareness in Thranduil, and he has that line of dialogue at the end where he reverses what he says and says, "It feels that way because it's real. You are heartbroken now because it is real." And he remembers his dead wife, and it's all related to the White Gems of Lascalen. It's part of Thranduil's much larger story arc that I think a story arc for Thranduil that was underserved because of the way the theatrical films were piecemealed out to us, the audience. We didn't know how much pain Thranduil was in when we went to the theaters to see AUJ.
I didn't
we
need
didn't know.
to know. I didn't need to know.
I think it's kind of cool.
I'm already
but
sold
we get,
on Thranduil as a badass.
In theatrical Battle of the Five Armies, we get emotional closure of that story arc for Thranduil after he sees what happens to Tauriel.
I don't need closure of that arc.
And he's at the end of the Battle of the Five Armies, Thranduil is thinking about one thing and one thing only: his wife. And he's so emotional after what he's seen Tauriel go through. He says to his son, in a kind of a line, you'd call it a non sequitur. It comes out of nowhere. He just says, "Your mother loved you. She really, really, really loved you." And the audience is like, where the hell did this come from? Well, now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm adding a layer of thought, thanks to my girl on her Tumblr account, the Swedish girl who's the hardcore Thranduil fan, she has kind of helped me understand Thranduil in a different way that I never understood before. Do you guys... Aerovandi says, "I agree." Yeah, you know what? North Runner says, "Great point, Cliff. I wouldn't have thought of that in 1,000 years." I think that Tauriel needs to be emotionally devastated so that Thranduil can break the ice and he can actually feel feelings again. You know, the remorse of his loss.
We don't need that. She was more.
The filmmakers wanted us to have it. Why? Justin, you say we don't need it, but Philippa Boyens and Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh thought that you needed it. Why? Because the screenwriters are trying to remind us, I think, of some beautiful bit of Tolkien ephemera that we may have forgotten. Elves are immortal, but they may die, not only from a blade or being killed, but they actually may die from sorrow. And I think that's why we got there.
If they had
I think
introduced
that's a nice touch. It's a nice touch.
Look, if they had
I get it
introduced
now.
that in the second movie, where the spiders and the murk of Mirkwood has because if they had introduced the idea that there's a sadness on this forest, and directly in the second movie, instead of ham-fisting it into the ending into the last half hour of Battle of Five Armies, if they had introduced these concepts of failed love and there's a sadness on this forest, that would have been awesome, because then they're going through the forest, there's a sadness on this forest, it used to be Greenwood, and then they go to see, and he's just and he's just sad and he's dark and everything, and the only elf of glowing light is Tauriel. And I feel like it was almost there, but instead we got Thranduil from the minute we see him. I mean, he's on his thing, he throws off his huge robe, and he's fabulous. And it's just like...
to some people he's fabulous, to others he's an insufferable bastard.
But he's not morose. Of all things you cannot claim he is,
okay,
it's morose.
What's interesting is that if Thranduil, and he really is kind of like an egotistical, insufferable bastard for much of the three films, but now I'm starting to see that carefully hidden soft spot of vulnerability that Thranduil does not let show until the end of the third film. It's really interesting to me that the audience... Wait, I'm just going to say my final point.
Yeah.
You and me, all of us as general audience members, we did not get that storyline. We didn't get that story served to us properly because of the freaking way that they took stuff out of the theatrical versions only to restore it here where it should have been in the first place. And it reinforces my point that I've been saying for months. The extended editions of The Hobbit are the definitive versions of the films. You should never, ever watch the theatrical versions ever again. Do not show them to your friends. If your friends want to get introduced to Lord of the Rings, you don't show them theatrical LOTR, do you?
But you can.
You can.
They're capable movies.
They're capable.
You can even watch it on TBS.
But we're at a different point. If you want to introduce your
the
friends to
Hobbits
Hobbit,
are unwatchable.
you have to introduce.
Theatrical.
Theatrical Battle of the Five Armies feels like there's a big heartbeat of a movie missing. But you know it's in there. You know it's in there somewhere. It just feels like a third act being rushed along.
I'm just
a third act.
I'm just
is what it feels like.
Frustrated.
You know what I'm saying? Are we in agreement at least on that?
Yes.
All right.
All of this effort into
Thank you.
explain Thranduil's motivations were compacted into the third movie instead of brought out in the second movie. I mean, if we had had more of Thranduil's sadness, and a little bit more history. I mean, one of those dwarves has to know a little bit about the history. Balin or something like that. You know, I could have explained like this once was a happy place, and then he lost his wife or something like that. To the orcs of Gundabad. Like if they had introduced that in the second movie, we would have had more screen time for this storyline, less for the Tauriel love story.
I would like to have less Alfred and more of this type of storytelling.
And then when we got to the
truth.
third movie, it would have been more impactful. But I feel like
listen to this
thing was rushed.
I get it. It does feel like that was rushed.
And it overshadows everything that Tauriel was building up to be.
Mm-hmm.
Tauriel was created in the mind, basically to be the hero elf.
Yeah.
You know, and then
beyond what Legolas already was, the hero elf.
She was supposed to be it, and that's what she was promised. We even have interviews with Evangeline Lilly saying she signed up for the script that she read before they filmed. And then when they did reshoots, they added the whole love triangle with Legolas and blah, blah, blah. And we know that the entire final battle with Bolg and her disappearing and then Legolas coming to her rescue, that's all CG. 100% CG.
Yeah.
It's not even actors on a mocap stage. It's all CG.
Yeah.
You know, and the Super Mario thing. Yeah. So they could have easily switched places and had Tauriel come rescue that stupid kid Legolas. You know, I always got to bail you out of things, and that would have been reinforced. And then we could have had, you know what? She's emotionally broken. She's physically broken because she just had the battle of her life. She just saved her kin, Legolas, and now she's just lost Keely. Like that would have been just like you just broke her physically, and then you broke her emotionally.
Yeah.
Instead, we got she disappears, Legolas saves the day, then she discovers Keely, and Thranduil's like, I know what you're feeling, man, because I was there. And it's like, I feel like there's just a little bit, by adding Thranduil's wife's storyline, it just lessens the impact of Tauriel completely.
I don't know. I think there's simpatico. Really,
I understand that how they're simpatico, and I understand that, but I just feel like it just as inclusion, Thranduil's wife's inclusion, overshadows.
Well, Legolas talks about his mother when they go to Gundabad, like here in the chat room, where she says that when Legolas talks about his mother being, mother dying, and one of our friends in the chat said that was one of the most powerful scenes. Here it is, right here. The scene with Legolas and Tauriel at Gundabad, when he tells her his mother died, is one of the strongest scenes in the film. Okay, and you said that
really,
yeah, you said that Tauriel is broken, and here we're getting these. Thank you for sending us the messages on the hotline. We're looking at you guys in the chat, and we're grateful to have you on the hotline
Well,
as
I
well.
might be wrong because Shearsay says in the chat room no, Justin, it validates what Tauriel was feeling,
and that she was justified. I agree. I agree. Listen what we've got here on the hotline.
Okay, maybe I'm completely off base.
You said
I'm totally off base on this.
You used the word broken. You said Tauriel is broken. Look,
she could have been broken.
One of our fans says Thranduil is broken. He resorts to his power as a cover. I agree with that. He resorts to power as a cover for his feelings. After Thorin insults him in Desolation of Smaug in the Elven Kingdom, he immediately goes to his throne. He immediately turns his back and he goes right up to his throne because it's the only protective place where he feels he can be protected, sitting on his throne. I kind of get that. I get that.
Is there any of this
in
the extended edition Desolation?
Extended edition of what?
Is there any of this extra Thranduil stuff in the extended edition of Desolation of Smaug?
There's a little bit more. There's just a little bit more of Thranduil in the extended edition, but not along these lines of talking about his past and his wife. Most of the stuff.
I agree with the people in the chat room. I hope they flesh this out more in the extended edition Battle of the Five Armies, because from what we've seen in the trailer for the extended edition is that there's more Legolas. There's more CG Legolas.
Yeah.
There's Legolas killing orcs while hanging from a bat upside down. He kills a bunch of orcs. Like, there's more CG Legolas, not less. And there's an Alfred death scene, a brutal death scene. There's more of the two things that nobody wants in the extended edition: more CG Legolas and more Alfred. It's like, please, I hope to Eru that there is more Thranduil story, because I really want to have a greater appreciation for this. But
thank you, Smaug the Dragon, for sending those texts. Thank you.
Lee Pace, in interviews, even said that he used the throne as a sort of safe place for Thranduil. I've only seen the theatrical editions, and I didn't pick that
Guys,
up.
When I was watching Desolation of Smaug Extended, I didn't notice much additional Thranduil. Did you? If you guys noticed some more, let me know. Everything that really excited me, what really turns on the lights in my tree at Christmas time is more Beorn, more of Thorin's father, Thrain, in Dol Guldur. All that extended stuff is the best. It's the best. It makes that movie really watchable, And I had problems with the theatrical version of DOS. I really did.
I have problems with the theatrical version of all of them, but
but Battle of the Five Armies has a big piece yet to give us, and we don't know what will happen to Tauriel at the end. Will they still leave her frozen on that waterfall, weeping and holding Keely in her arms? I want to know if she wanders off like they show Arwen wandering off and dying of sadness in the lonely woods when they show that in Return of the King. Wouldn't it be interesting? Oh, because that was where Elrond was trying to explain to his daughter, this is what your mortality is going to look like, and you're not going to like it. It's not pretty. It's a terrifying, sad thing.
I hope to all things. I pray.
I wonder if they show Tauriel.
I pray to Peter Jackson that there's not a shot of Tauriel and Legolas holding hands at the funeral. Please do not have
Tauriel and Legolas holding hands?
I just hope they're not. There's no more physical contact or emotional connection. Tauriel is destroyed. I had a nightmare that there was a scene at the funeral, at Thorin's funeral.
Yeah.
In the extended edition, I had a nightmare that there was a scene where you just have a quick shot of the two elves, like, consoling each other, or a quick holding of the hands or something. Like, there's an emotional thing because maybe because Tauriel, when they announce the death of Keely, they go through Fili and then Keely and then Thorin in the funeral rites. Maybe when they announce Keely, Tauriel grabs onto Legolas's hand or something. I don't need that.
That's not going to happen. Do you know what would be interesting? I
hope not.
If Tauriel wanders off into the woods completely heartbroken and doesn't go to the funeral at all.
Grief, sex, Tauriel and Legolas.
A
grief,
spirited
sex.
book. No way.
No
way.
Tauriel and Legolas. So let me ask you this.
So
did did Thranduil send?
Yeah, maybe Legolas won't be at the funeral at all.
Did Thranduil send those 2 elves to Gundabad?
Say again? Sorry?
Did Thranduil send those 2 elves to Gundabad?
No, Legolas went on his own motivation.
With Tauriel.
And he said, No,
Tauriel went with him.
Tauriel was informed by an emissary from the Woodland Realm that she was banished. And he's like, you are summoned to your father. And Legolas said, F you, mother effers. And he goes off to Gundabad. And he's like, will you go with me? And I think she's like, I'll go with you. So they just go off on their own. Yeah. This is very intriguing to me, that we have the chance to do our own headcanon. This conversation pretty much...
I feel like head cheese.
It is. Hey, before we get to see the extended edition of BOT FA, we are stuck with our own ideas, and we're stuck with our own conjecture. But I don't think this headcanon that we're dreaming up is going to be too far off the mark. I'm actually pleased to see...
Another question.
I was so disappointed with the handling of the Tauriel-Keeley relationship, but now that I see it in a whole new way, that it becomes a key factor for Thranduil to let go of his grief, or to actually get back in touch with his own feelings again, I think that's rather enriching. I really do.
So instead of being Tauriel, instead of being Mary Sue, the entire existence of Tauriel is to unlock Thranduil's potential.
That's not the only. That's not the only.
It's a
big part of it. It's a big part of it, but not the only thing. I mean, Tauriel and Keeley are also reminding us of some elements in the Silmarillion, where you have interracial love affairs. I mean, there's an affair or a romantic connection between, Beren and Luthien, which is a complete echo, once again, when it becomes Aragorn and Arwen. But then there was also Thingol and Melian.
Well, Cliff, have you heard anything about Thranduil's scars and their meaning?
No, that's still something...
That's just Peter Jackson doing cool stuff.
Peter Jackson doing something gross and interesting.
It's awesome.
And it is awesome. It is awesome.
I wanted more of that story.
I approve. Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if we had gotten a flashback of what it was like with Thranduil?
Don't talk to me about dragons.
What if we had a flashback where Thranduil had to relive his memories of facing down some of the great worms of the north?
That's what I thought would happen when he faces Sauron. If Thranduil ever
that
communicated
so cool.
with Sauron, if Thranduil looked into a Palantir, was Thranduil at the? No, Thranduil wasn't at the big wizard fight, right? No, that was Galadriel.
No, Thranduil was not at Dol Guldur. No.
Thranduil wasn't there. I imagine that if Thranduil ever caught a glimpse of Sauron, he would have had that flashback.
That might have been interesting.
Of all the bad things in his life. Okay. And maybe that's what we needed. Maybe Thranduil needed to be at that fight against Sauron, and when he looked into Sauron's eye, or maybe Thranduil discovers a Palantir. Maybe he looks into it and starts having quick flashbacks. That would have been amazing, of his wife dying, his abandoned son, after she died, and losing the jewels, getting scarred by the dragons. That kind of would have been cool.
I can understand. Yeah, I'd get that. Oh, hey, look at this. When you go to IMDb, if you guys are on the web, as soon as our show is over, go to the Internet Movie Database. Go to imdb.com and type in Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies, and look at how they've changed the page. Look at how they've changed the page.
Full screen takeover.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, when you just can't go and visit the Hobbit IMDb page, it's been taken over with this crazy marketing. Beautiful graphics and stuff all over. But the original film was 144 minutes. The extended is 174 minutes. So,
1 extra minute of credits, so it's 19 minutes of extra footage.
30. Wait, what? No. What?
Yep, 19.
5, 6, 7. It's 30 minutes.
No.
30 minutes.
That's old information. It's 19 minutes of extra footage.
It's only 19 minutes of extra footage?
You have to go to the film ratings.
Oh, the film ratings.
So, are there any other questions that you always wanted to know about Thranduil in the movies and were afraid to ask? Please text us, call us, ask away. This is the show to find out everything you need to know about Thranduil, his motivations, his impact on the story. Now, I thought the coolest thing, not only was it in the trailer, I believe you have something
Oh,
that
look, it
belongs
is
to
on
me.
it is on the film ratings website. You're right. It's all here.
Not only was it in every trailer, I believe you have something you belongs to me. But I thought it was really cool that Thranduil brings all that aid, the food and stuff, to the men
to help
of
the men of Dale. Yeah.
And then he says, "I'm not charity, bro. I'm totally upfront with selfish reasons." And even when Bilbo shows up and he's like, "Oh, so you're the thief," Thranduil is smart. And
is he?
And I don't know. There's just something. Do you think Thranduil?
It doesn't say how long it is.
Do you think Thranduil thinks of himself higher than Gandalf?
Yeah, and it's evident. It's evident that Thranduil.
Now, why would there be a place for that? Because I thought, wizards are wizards.
Thranduil is completely ignoring the fact that.
Who's older?
That Gandalf is a Maiar.
Who's older?
A Maya spirit.
Gandalf or Thranduil?
Gandalf.
So why?
Gandalf has been there since before the beginning of the world.
So why? So why does he have this?
As a different form.
Doesn't he make
as a Maiar spirit?
Doesn't he make a sarcastic comment against Radagast?
Gandalf?
No, Thranduil.
No, Thranduil makes no comments about Radagast at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but why does Thranduil not respect Gandalf?
I don't know.
Why doesn't anybody respect Gandalf? I mean, not even Saruman.
Oh.
Nobody respects Gandalf anywhere. He's just that crazy old wizard. Hobbits don't respect him. You're a disturber of the peace. Saruman's yo, you smoke too much weed and you didn't notice this. Thranduil's So why would Thranduil not respect?
And of course, he walks into the Golden Hall, Rohan, and at Meduseld.
No power here.
And always meddling. Gandalf had a reputation for meddling in the affairs of everyone, and that was his reputation.
So what is his backstory with Thranduil that there would be some negativity?
Say again?
What's the background between Thranduil and Gandalf that could be the source of that hostility?
I'm sure that Gandalf has gone wandering through Mirkwood and has visited the realm of the Elven King on numerous occasions. I'm sure he has. As we know from Tolkien's material in the appendix at the back of Return of the King, during the hunt for Gollum, the Elven King, Thranduil, cooperated in keeping Gollum prisoner after Aragorn and Gandalf captured him.
What?
So they were all...
Aragorn and Gandalf captures...
Yep.
And that's why Gandalf in the Fellowship of the Rings knows all about Gollum.
Yep.
So Thranduil corroborated? Explain that.
Aragorn, Gandalf, Gollum.
So what do you mean corroborated? Did Thranduil keep him in the dungeon? The same dungeon that the dwarves were kept in?
Aragorn begins the search for Gollum at the request of Gandalf, okay?
Right.
Aragorn captures Gollum in the Dead Marshes and takes him up to be held captive with Thranduil.
Because Legolas is with him. Because at the end of Battle of
Because
Five
they become
Armies,
friends, yeah.
Because it's like, yo, son, I appreciate everything you're doing, but go look for that guy Aragorn or the Ranger, or what's he say?
Thranduil, okay. Aragorn delivers Gollum to King Thranduil of Mirkwood to be held captive.
Celeborn and Thranduil got together after Galadriel left and partied. You better believe it.
Yeah, that's right. Gollum escapes from the Wood Elves.
So, just like the dwarves.
And Gollum has some help, some outside friends who come to help him escape,
Just like the dwarves. So Thranduil's like the worst jail in Middle Earth.
Yeah, Thranduil is repeatedly the worst. It's easy to break out of Thranduil's jails. We know that for sure. Everyone seems to be able to do it.
He's minimum security prison.
Tolkien Girl says, Cliff,
ain't no
yes, I
Rikers.
believe it's because Gandalf meddled far too much. Yes. Esme says, after the fall of Sauron, Thranduil fixed the southern boundary of his realm as the mountains of Mirkwood, which was along the main road. That was,
Yeah.
a good 175 miles south of his...
And his realm flourished
Yeah.
because of that.
Into the forest. He may have stayed on as the king of the great forest or left Middle-earth and departed to the Undying Lands, because him and his people had not gone to see the light of the two trees.
You know what would be crazy if
Yeah.
if the
Had never gone to
special
Valve.
edition, if the special edition, extended edition, Lord of the Rings, which I have no doubt is going to be created by Peter Jackson inserting new scenes, wouldn't it be funny if in one of the flashbacks about Gollum, that maybe even when Gandalf is talking about Gollum when they're in the Mines of Moria, what if they flash back to Gollum in Thranduil's prison? So you can insert Thranduil into the Lord of the Rings trilogy by flashing back to when Gollum was in prison in Thranduil's prison.
Yep.
That would be a really cool connection because you know that prison, you've seen it with the dwarves.
Yep.
I mean, you had a really emotional moment with the Moonstone and everything like that.
It'd be great.
And then Bilbo breaking them out of the prison.
Yep.
And then now you can film a new scene with Gollum and Thranduil, or Gollum and Legolas.
Imagine, you know how badly the interrogation went? How badly that orc had been interrogated by Tauriel.
I'm ready for the special edition.
Tauriel, Thranduil, and Legolas interrogating that orc. It didn't end very well for the orc. Imagine Tauriel and Legolas and Thranduil interrogating Gollum. That'd be an interesting scene to have. You know what? We've touched upon, just now, in this last few bits, we've touched upon what's going to be a large portion of the plot. I predict this is going to be a large portion of the next Middle-earth film, with young Aragorn and young Legolas meeting each other and having a buddy movie. It's going to happen. And it's going to include the hunt for Gollum and his imprisonment in Thranduil's caves. All that stuff is going to be there.
I don't know about that.
I do.
But I think the special extended edition would be pretty cool. So Thranduil, because of this Tumblr and because we're looking at Thranduil in a whole new light, we've looked at Thranduil through the lens of Tauriel. He is a stronger character than Tolkien ever wrote.
Because he has a relatable loss now.
So in the book and in the cartoon, in Tolkien's original work, Thranduil was kind of a throwaway character that we never saw again.
In the original of The Hobbit, he's there to give the background of how Thorin's grandfather messed things up with his next door neighbors. The story that Tolkien is interested in exploring in the book, and Thranduil is not even named Thranduil in The Hobbit, he's just called the Elven King. But that's all about the geopolitical structure between Iron Hills, the Lonely Mountain, Dale, and the Woodland Realm. It's all about that. That's what Tolkien was interested in.
So Thranduil didn't have much of a thing. So out of all the characters and all the things that happen in the book, did Thranduil get the biggest plus up through the movie? Of all the characters in The Hobbit, did Thranduil get the biggest heightened character development because of the movies?
You mean of the new characters?
Of any character that was in the book that Tolkien wrote, did Thranduil get the biggest
no, Thorin.
plus up?
Thorin gets the biggest plus up. Thorin and his portrayal and his struggles with his internal demons.
That's not covered in the book?
Well, this augmented version of The Hobbit adds so much more stuff about Thorin's family and his missing father Thrain and his grandfather than Tolkien writes about. I believe Thorin gets the biggest plus up with emotional trajectory and an entire story arc. Thorin gets the biggest plus up. Thranduil gets
characterization.
Quite a bit too.
That's a great word. Tina in the chat room. Keeley got increased characterization.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Keeley got a lot more characterization. And
Tolkien Girl says she missed the proper conversation between Thranduil and Thorin from the book. How is that?
Proper conversation between the Elven King and Thorin.
The proper conversation.
Oh, you mean the way that they spoke to each other when Thorin was still being held captive in Mirkwood, and they They had not yet escaped with the barrels out of Bond.
What's the difference there?
Well, it's kind of like, like any good Tolkien purist, we want to hear Éowyn on the battlefield say that famous speech and those same lines of dialogue, that they say that, but it was changed in Return of the King, and Éowyn has really noticeably different
Yeah, but what
dialogue. Well, in between Thorin and the Elven King, Tolkien Girl, it was... Yeah, it's true. Tolkien Girl
it was more of
it's the fact that Thorin was more recalcitrant and did not give away any details about their quest at all.
like
Not
a battle of wits.
Well, exactly. And he plays like grumpy chess player without revealing, or poker face, like totally not
Okay.
revealing his hand. But
So-
in Richard Armitage and Lee Pace's scene, Thorin gives away
Come to reclaim the mountain.
he gets complete admission
Yeah.
of what they intend to do in
You
their
know what?
quest
A
for
game
Erebor.
of
Yeah.
wits would have been cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a little
I
bit of
like that though.
we got the game of wits wonderfully in an unexpected journey between Gollum and
Yeah.
Bilbo.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of the game of wits
Between the dragon
between
and
the
Bilbo.
dragon and Bilbo.
Yes.
That would have been wonderful to see Thranduil. But other than that, do you feel that Thranduil got increased characterization in these movies? Obviously, Thorin got more characterization more than most. Did Thranduil get increased characterization
Yes.
through these movies?
Yes, very
And-
much so. But
and-
not
and
the greatest increase, but yes. It certainly makes him a much more fleshed out and believable character. Conversation today. Fleshed out character. That means now, when we have repeated viewings, we'll be watching Lee Pace's performance a little more closely now and see if we can get more understanding. We'll be understanding Lee Pace's headcanon and what he was thinking was motivating him as an actor, and we'll also be much more aware of what the writers were putting in there. Well, that's been a very interesting. If you learned something more,
Is a stronger character and more than initially perceived.
Mhm.
And I do think the topics discussed and all the reasons that he is a more important character against Tauriel. Of all other things happening in the movie, I think by making Thranduil with a deeper storyline and a deeper history, you've sacrificed the
Promise of the character.
on Tauriel. I wanted her just to be the awesomest elf in the entire trilogy.
Wasn't to be.
okay. Well, no,
But
well,
that's all. That I appreciate. I appreciate this Tumblr. I appreciate.
I do.
learning-
I
learning
appreciate
a
the
bit more.
insights that I get from our Scandinavian fans. Thank you, my dear friend from Sweden.
So check out shop.theonering.com. Get this T-shirt. You start with you, and we'll be.
Also, thank you to the Thranduilings Tumblr blog.
Yes.
Thank you, Sandra in Sweden, for giving us so much meat and potatoes to talk about. It was very good.
Well, I hope to see more stuff on Thranduil in the special edition, extended edition, Lord of the Rings.
Do you think as
I
a,
hope to see more Thranduil in the
As-
Hobbit.
as at Thorin's funeral, just as a head of state?
Oh yeah, we know he does.
Yeah, yeah.
He was on the call list for that shoot date.
Okay. Ooh, but was Tauriel there? We don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't think so. Okay, you
Yeah.
guys have been a wonderful audience. Really great, active audience. You blew up our hotline number. That was awesome. Thank you guys for being part
Great
of the show.
day here, everybody. We're here live every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific from Meltdown Comics.
Thank you for putting up with our little tech glitches at the beginning of the show. And we're going to have this on archive. It'll be great. And
Subscribe to us on YouTube.
subscribe to us on YouTube. Our channel is there, yes.
Yes.
Follow him at Justin's Big Idea on Twitter. Follow me at QuickBeam2000. And just for you guys who are out there waiting for it, I'm going to give you one for the road. Grand. Thank you. Good night.
find us at DragonCon. See us at San Jose Wizard World this weekend, and then we'll
This weekend, yeah, Dragon Con.
We'll see you at the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition next week.
Okay.
We got some really special guests.
Oh, that's gonna be huge.
Did you hear about? Oh, should we?
Yes, Tina Bomar. I will be at the Arrow Theater. I'll be Master of Ceremonies for the Lord of the Rings trilogy screening event.
Mark Ordesky will be there.
Well, I'm gonna have Mr. Mark Ordesky on stage with me. You know,
are we supposed to say who?
We're gonna do
who
some
else
jazz
is
hands.
doing something?
We'll do a nice show.
Can we mention who else is involved on the Lord of the Rings trilogy screening?
Well, we don't have any other confirmed stars yet, but we do have some.
We did. We have some videos.
We have some videos that are coming, and we have some more videos that are going to be coming, but we only have 4 more days to get them in.
From people
From
that we haven't got videos from before.
That's right. This is lovely.
Super A-list.
Kate Blanchett has recorded a wonderful
tribute
video that we'll
to
be
Christopher
playing.
Lee.
Oh, it's going to be so great. I just can't wait.
And it's only going to be seen in the theater this one time. It's going to be amazing. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody. Great show tonight. Thank you for joining us. Do 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 do.
I guess I can hit goodbye on this.
That was nice.